Hi you guys, welcome back to the Desk Corner. In today's video we are going to open up this very exciting package. I was sent this by Miranda Watson from Alkali Creek Art. Now a lot of you guys are probably already familiar with Miranda. She makes a lot of videos, like multiple videos per week, and she does a lot of watercolor content as well. Very fun channel, so if you guys have not checked her out already, definitely check her out. I'll leave her channel linked in the description box down below. Thank you, Miranda, for very kindly sending me this supply that I'm very excited to try out. And of course I have the addresses blocked on here, which is why maybe the aesthetics of this intro are not completely on point, but I was just too excited and I had to share with you guys the process of opening this up and trying it out on camera. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just open this up and I will share with you guys what Miranda sent me. Ta-da! It's the Tritone pencils by Koh-I-Noor. I think Koh-I-Noor is how you pronounce this brand name, but I'm sure you guys have heard of them before. A lot of people have asked me if I've used their products and have asked me to review some of them, and I have not gotten around to it, but I'm really excited. I guess Miranda to the rescue here, sending me these so I could try them out, and maybe we'll try some more of their products in the future. Sorry about the light reflecting. I still need to take this out of the packaging in a moment, but I'm just admiring them for now. So this comes with 11 pencils and one blender pencil. I mean 11 colors and one blender. And the thing is, even though it's 11 colors, each color is obviously multicolored. Now I'm not really sure how this is going to work. I think that this is going to look really good in a certain style, and I'm picturing it in my head. We'll get into that more when we get to actually creating like an artwork with this, which I'm planning on doing today. But if you guys could see, which I might need to take the pencils out for you guys to see it clearly, but the way that the colors are combined, it's almost like they look kind of like marble. So it seems like you're going to get kind of a variation, and it's not evenly dispersed across the lead. I kind of like that effect. I think it's going to look really good in a certain style. And so I guess when we swatch these out, we can see how exactly they're going to look, but I don't know, I am just so excited. So even though you're only getting 11 colors, technically you are getting a lot of different blends because each one has 3 different colors. And so it's actually more colors than you would think. There is the one blender pencil. I'm not really always a fan of blender pencils. I don't tend to use them anymore. I think I used them in the past, but we'll see. We'll try to use it a little bit so that at least I'm making the most out of this set. So let's see if there's anything else we should look at before we open these. Tritone pencils create rich drawings with more depth than traditional colored pencils. Each pencil contains 3 shades and draws a multicolored line. Colors can be blended further with a special blender pencil. Okay, so I guess the blender is, I see why they include the blender, because it's going to look kind of like marbly, I assume, and then with the blender you can probably merge the colors together a bit better. And then we have the different languages here. But yeah, I think I just can't really wait anymore to open these, so let's go ahead and take the packaging off. Wow, I absolutely destroyed that packaging. I've never been good at opening these types of things where it's packaged this way. So the tin is underneath like this so that you can carefully remove the packaging. Yeah, look how carefully I removed it, guys. I wonder if this comes in a larger set too, or if it's kind of just like a specialty thing they do and they just have this amount of colors. Oh, look at this. How cute. Oh, I'm loving this brand so far, you guys. That is awesome. It says that they've been around, I guess, established since 1790. So I guess another one of those like really old European art supply companies that's just been like reliable for hundreds of years. So that's really nice. And wow, I just wish I had explored this brand a little bit further in the past and actually tried out some of their stuff, but you know, there's always time to start now, and I guess this is a good way to start with something interesting like this. Let's zoom in now. We could take a better look at this. Maybe we'll look at one of the pencils, and let's move that out of the way. I think I'm just going to pick like this one here, one of the blue pencils, and maybe if I hold this up you'll be able to see the marble effect. It's kind of hard to see with this color. I think it might be easier to see with like one of the yellows maybe. You could kind of see it better there and how the color is dispersed in the lead. Oh wow, I think I know exactly what I want to do for this, you guys. I think I know exactly what I want to do, but I'm not going to mention it quite yet. I guess I'll bring this up further so you guys can kind of see what the color blends look like. Some of them are kind of similar here, as you guys could see. It's funny because a couple of them make sense, like the three greens together, these neutrals, and then some of these blues. And then you've also got a couple where it's gonna have a very interesting look to it. You have a blue, a gray, it looks like, and a red. This one looks like a sage green type of color, an orange, and a bright red, almost like a scarlet. And that one's really interesting too, pink, yellow, and red, but I think that's a good combination regardless. I think the most interesting are probably these two. They don't make as much sense. They also have names on them, which is funny because the names have to they have to relate to the actual blend and not just one color, so they're gonna be fun names. I can already see a couple of them, but we're gonna save that for the swatch chart. I'm trying to get into the habit of using up all my spare scraps of paper for swatch charts and things like that, so that's why I have kind of a funny sized swatch chart right now. Just trying to use up some spare paper that I found when organizing my desk. And I wrote down all the color names, or I guess you could say the blend names, and then you can see I'm starting to swatch them out. Now it's a little bit hard to see on the camera with the lighter colors especially, but I actually had to rotate the pencil a bit to kind of get the different colors showing through. So you do have some control over which color comes out, and it doesn't really come out evenly. It just depends on which side of the pencil you're coloring and if you're moving it around. Sunset and Volcano are pretty similar. Evening Storm is hard to see on the camera, but it's actually a really pretty blend. It actually turned out to be my favorite out of all of them. And then Summer, Sky, and Ocean I thought were pretty similar as well. And then we have Meadow and Forest, which I think were different enough for me. It's a tad darker of a shade there. And then Rainforest. Tiger is also a really great blend. I really like that one. Maybe that's also my favorite next to Evening Storm. Here's what that swatch looks like. Let's take a look-see at the colors closer up now that I've swatched them all out. And as you guys can see, a couple of them are more apparent in the tritone than others. I think I really like some of these color combinations more than I thought. I really like that Evening Storm, which that was one of the ones where I wasn't sure how that was going to look. And I think I actually might like that one the best out of all of them because that's a really unique color combination that you end up getting. Tiger is also kind of cool as well. Some of them are kind of similar, like the Sunset Volcano, and also like the Meadow, the Forest, the Summer Sky, and the Ocean, but I'm sure because, they go a tone deeper, like one might be one tone deeper than the other, that there is some difference when you're using them in an artwork, so I guess we will see how that goes. Which ones do you guys like best? I know it might be a little bit hard to see, and I didn't want to do multiple layers because I wasn't sure. I mean, I am going to have to do multiple layers in my artwork, but I kind of like doing just 1 to 2 layers on these to see how the different colors disperse without kind of covering them up. So one thing that's going to be interesting is figuring out how you layer with these pencils, and if you have to be careful. One thing I was doing was kind of switching the pencils around as I was turning them around to different spots on the lead as I was coloring because I wanted to get all the colors in and not just one of them. As you could see, I switched here between the red and the orange yellow in Volcano because I was only getting that red, it looks like, at first and not too much of the yellow. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the artwork because I have a really great idea of what I want to do with these. I guess this little swatch chart worked out pretty well. I hope it still closes okay. I think it should. It's big enough. I think it's fine. It's just 11 pencils anyway. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the artwork. I grabbed a sheet of hot pressed watercolor paper by Arches and guillotined it in half so that I could do a smaller artwork today. Colored pencil art tends to be time consuming, and I really want to work on something that I could possibly finish within today or at least tomorrow. So we're going to do a smaller piece, and I'm very inspired. It's a small 11 set here, so I guess a smaller piece lends itself well, but I'm also just very inspired by Claude Monet because we are learning about him, or I'm teaching about him, I should say, in my middle school art classes, and they are doing Claude Monet inspired impressionistic trees soon. And since they're going to be doing that, I was a bit inspired by one of his works. I think he actually has multiple of this one, but his Weeping Willow tree, and I'm really excited to try this with the tritone colors because I think they lend themselves really well to it. And it could just be a really big mess. I mean, of course his original is in paint, so I don't know how this is going to go with pencils. It could be a total mess, but we're just going to give it a shot. I have been wanting to kind of like recreate famous works or be inspired by famous works lately, and I think that's something fun I could do on my channel in the future. If you guys like that, let me know and I'll do more of it. But yeah, with that being said, let's just go ahead and jump into it and see what we can do here. I'm sure it's going to be fun. I'm going to start by just sketching in my willow tree here, and I find trees to be a little bit difficult to sketch actually. The branches are just difficult and I find it hard to make it look realistic. But boy, as I was sketching this out, I was glad that I chose this size paper and portrait style because I think it really lends itself to this artwork. And I kind of liked that top branch, you can't really see the top of it as well. It does something for the piece, I guess. I lightened it up with my kneaded eraser as I normally do, and then I went in with my black polychromos, and I actually am going to be using this a bit throughout for the contrast, for the darker shadows. I decided to let myself cheat with that because there aren't really any colors in here that are dark enough to do anything like that with, and I realized that early on. So those darkest shadows are the black polychromos. And then I started to go in with the other colors and explore a bit. Kind of rotated my pencil as I wanted to get a blend of all the different tones in one pencil, and I wanted there to be a variation of color in this tree trunk and the branches. And I think I actually accomplished that pretty well. This part did take forever though. I mean, sure, the background you're going to see in a bit took forever as well, but I guess pencil work in general just takes forever. But I really wanted to build up this tree trunk and the branches and get as much kind of like depth and different color variations going on there as I could. Looking at it, I think it's a little hard to tell which exact pencils I'm using because there's such a mix, but I used a lot of that Evening Storm for some of the purple areas and Sunset and Volcano for some of those reds as well. Also for the bottom part, I definitely used one of the blues, as you guys can obviously see, but I'm not really sure if it was one of them or both of them. Then that tiger color, which is kind of like an orange brownish blend, love it, totally love it, and I definitely used that a bit to give the tree trunk more of that brown color so that it, you know, still resembles a tree trunk even though there's a lot of different undertones going on in it. These pencils layer really well. I am using the Arches hot pressed watercolor paper, which I know people love to use for colored pencils, and I think that was a good choice here because I feel like these pencils are the type where you're going to want to layer a lot. There's just so much that you can do with these and so much depth that you can get with them, and I think that all that layering was worth it in the end. Although I will tell you guys, I never went through and blended with the blender pencil or did anything to smooth everything out because I still wanted the pencil strokes to show a bit so it looks a little more impressionistic. That's what the inspiration was, obviously, Claude Monet. I think I had some trouble with that bottom part there where the roots of the tree were. I'm not really sure what I was going for over there. And then you can see I'm going to start on the background, and oh boy, you guys, did this take me forever and a day. Luckily, there were like 3 green pencils to choose from, and each had a different blend, and I was able to switch between those and get a lot of different tones coming out. But then I also wanted some orange and blues to show through in the background as well, so you'll see me going in and adding that. At first, I tried to just stick to those squiggly motions and kind of make it look like that, and I did stick to that throughout the piece, but I also kind of started to just blend some of those together to make it look a little more blurry at some parts, which you guys might be able to notice as this piece progresses. I really liked the concept of the weeping willow tree, and it's not a type of tree that I've drawn before or painted before, so I thought that would be refreshing and not just the same old thing. I get kind of bored sometimes doing certain landscapes if I've done them before. I don't know, trees have always been a struggle for me too, and something I probably need to practice. I think this piece classifies as pretty good practice. As far as using the pencils goes, I was kind of just rotating them just like I was doing with the swatch chart so I could get the different color variations, and sometimes I was just letting them do their own thing. My Evening Storm did actually break in the sharpener, which it wasn't an electric sharpener either, it was a handheld one, and I was super sad about it. And then I was pretty gentle with it after that. I was afraid of it breaking again. But let me tell you, the lead looked pretty funny once I took a look at it. It's very interesting. In fact, I probably should have shown you guys that on the camera, but I kept it. Maybe I'll show you guys next time. It was interesting looking at how the colors were dispersed in the bottom part of the lead. Anyways, I don't know if you guys can tell because this is sped up as usual, of course, but this took me absolutely forever to do, and my hand was hurting by the end of this piece, but it was worth it. I think that it turned out really nice. And I really liked all the color variety that I got in here as well. I had to take quite a break after this part though, where I finished up that right side. I had to take a break because I was just getting way too fatigued. My hand was actually cramping up a bit. I wanted that bottom part of the ground or roots or whatever to kind of blend in more to the top, so you'll see me trying to do that a little bit here. And I think I succeeded all right with that. And then I tackled the left part here, and at some point I'm going to flip this paper upside down in a moment. Yeah, there it is, so that I can work on that side and view it a little bit from a different perspective. And I wanted to add some more like sky blue and purple colors on that side specifically, so that it's not all just like green in the background. And I think that's about it. And I'm going to call it finished. On the camera and the bright lights, it looks a little bit like it doesn't have that much contrast, but it does look better without all the really bright lights shining on it right now. It's nighttime as I'm recording this, which is why they have to be so bright. I do think I could have deepened up some of the contrast here, but having some of those like pencil strokes show through kind of like fits with the impressionistic style that I was going for with these, and I think that these pencils lend themselves really well to something like this. So let me know what you guys think about these. I am excited personally to try them again in the future and see what I can do with them, and let me know if you guys have tried them down below in the comments or if you have been tempted. Thank you again, Miranda. This video, obviously, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Miranda because I've been trying not to buy new stuff, but hey, stuff that's sent to me is fair game, so I have to thank Miranda again. She's really, really sweet for sending me these pencils. Oh, I didn't even end up using the blender pencil in this because I didn't want it to be too blended. So that might be something I explore further in the future if I use these pencils. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you have an idea for what else I could do with these pencils besides just impressionism, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video as always. Bye, you guys!